you guys are living in absolutely the best time to be a CE founder. And the reason is because the world has opened up to the fact that CE founders make some of the best and biggest companies in the world. In the first interaction you have with an investor, it's no different than the first interaction you have with a romantic partner, right? Like, you're trying to figure each other out. There's a lot of things you probably aren't saying. There's probably a lot of things you wish you could say, but you don't know how to. And I think really what you should try to optimize for is trying to get very quickly across what level of expertise you have in what you're building. So identifying your founder market fit very quickly to an investor. And so it's, why am I the right person for this particular business? The second thing is, like, why have I surrounded myself with amazing people that are going to make this business possible? Now, this is stuff you've probably heard many times before. Like, this isn't like rocket science, probably 500 blog posts written about this. But the tricky thing is, how do you manage that relationship? How do you build a pipeline of people you're talking to where you rank how that relationship went? Because it's a two-way street. So I wrote a blog post. I don't know if you find it there, but it's like managing your fundraising pipeline is a blog post that I wrote that has like a Google sheet that you can fill out. And I think what you need to think about is, if every single investor conversation is a possibility for having a long-term relationship, where does that rank as a relationship relative to other conversations I've had? Did I get value from them? Did they get value from me? Did answers I gave resonate with them or not? And you go through, you think about and reflect on every single one of those interactions, and you think about what things you said that made the investor feel disconnected from you, so that you can improve on for the next relationship that you're going to meet. Because the other thing is, you're not the same person when you're pitching your first investor to the time you're pitching your 10th investor. So we've seen founders go through a journey of, like, the first 3 pitches are like not horrible. They're just not knowing how to calibrate, like what things to talk about, what not things to talk about. By the time you're in the 30th pitch, you could have talked to that first investor and had an entirely different experience. Like, that would have gone entirely differently. And so that's why it's not even an easy question to answer, because think about your friendships. You know that some of your friends that you met when you're in your 20s, you wouldn't have been friends with in your 30s, and so that's why it's the best way to do this is to not have it be about an investor, what they look in a founder, or what a founder, it's about what you both get from that relationship. Write it down as a list of potential relationships, and then rank them like, hey, how did this feel? How did it not feel? Can this add value? Can they not add value? And that's hopefully a lot more constructive longer term than like overthinking any one investor relationship or any one investor engagement, because it will vary depending on where you are in your life, what many meetings you had before, what mood you're in. And so that can vary too much. So first of all, it's just coming to terms with there's tons of things that are going on in someone's life. And I think you have to remember that just like you guys are busy, investors are busy. And this is not a defense for investors. It's not. It's just like, I think part of it is the empathy that any outbound communication you have with somebody is going to be received depending on where they are in their day, their life, what's going on. And so it's very easy to over-index, like, oh, did I do something wrong? Did I send the wrong thing? Was it too fast? You can never optimize. There is no right solution. There's no right formula. So there's a little bit of karmic influence on this, serendipity. So the reason why I start with that is because it's so easy to get anxious about it. It's so easy to be like, fuck, should I do more? Should I do less? What is around? And that stuff can eat away at your life. Don't let it. The next thing is, if you talk to an investor and it went well, like there's an interest engagement, but there is no clarity on whether they're going to do any next step. It might be because you didn't leave it at a very clear position. It's like, okay, what is next steps for you? Or what would you like to see to re-engage? Like, you definitely want to leave your first or few conversations with enough clarity to know either I am going to do something with you in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or I need to keep you updated when I hit A, B, C, and D. If you find yourself in that you're ghosted but you didn't ask those questions in your first meeting, then yeah, you are in a bit of a limbo because you don't know whether you're being ghosted because there's no follow-up internally for the investor, or if they felt you weren't far along, but you didn't get clarity on where you would need to be, right? So I think first of all is make sure that every single meeting you have ends with an actionable trajectory. You can become the victim of your own ambiguity if you don't ask for a call to action. And if you find yourself in that position, it is a little awkward to reignite, but hopefully just think about sort of the next call to action at the end of a meeting, then you at least can understand yes or no, or what I need to do next. You guys are living in absolutely the best time to be a CE founder. And the reason is because the world has opened up to the fact that CE founders make some of the best and biggest companies in the world. And a lot of people feel like it's been an area that's been overlooked. And so there's a lot of new investors who are desperate to find what some people call diamonds in the rough. It's like there's tons of really great opportunities that they just haven't noticed because they weren't looking. Now, that means that for you, really the only thing is, can I eliminate all the variables that means I get a no? Can I eliminate those variables so that I know that when I am having those conversations, you capitalize on that opportunity? Because we're living in a time where you guys have the least bias. If anything, you have a positive bias. People want to hear from you. People want to see what you're building because they realize how many businesses have been built in the region that are of global impact. So I think it's more just about remembering that you're not like caught in whatever small region you think you might be in. You're actually a global player, and that global approach is what's going to get you funded.